What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be looking at another ridiculous and arguably broken combo in Keyforge. I did a video about a combo a little while ago that proved to be fairly popular. People kind of liked it, and that one revolved around playing cards like library access to draw extra cards, phase shift in order to use cards not of your house, and then Keyforge and getting your Ember, and I'll pop a link to that video in the description. Please do go check it out. The one we're talking about today, this one just stops your opponent playing. The other combo we looked at was very much, I'm going to start a loop, and this loop is going to end with me winning the game. This one, however, just stops your opponent playing, and it all revolves around Restringuntus. Now, Restringuntus is an exceptionally weak character. It is a 1-power character. There's no skirmish, so you could attack with it without taking damage back. There's no elusive, so that it would take your opponent 2 attacks, because the first attack would do no damage. It's literally just a 1-power with no extra protection. Now, sure, you can try and protect it using a creature that's got Taunt. Might I suggest Chuff Ape? And sure, you could use something like a Shadow Self to take damage away from it. There are cards you can use to try and protect Restringuntus. But Restringuntus itself has no extra protection. What it does have is an ability whereby when you play it, you choose a house, and your opponent cannot choose that house as their active house until Restringuntus leaves play. So you can essentially go, right, one of your 3 houses is off the board, you cannot choose it. You can always use something like a Hysteria to change your mind, lock them out of a different house, but that's not the goal of this combo. What we're doing here is trying to lock them out the game. So you choose a house that they're then not allowed to use. Let's say Mars, which for some reason has become my favourite house, apart from maybe Dis. They're my 2 favourite houses right now from the games I've been playing. Anyway, so you say, right, you cannot choose Mars. Mars is off the table. Cool. So on your opponent's next turn, they're not able to choose Mars, so they're going to go after Restringuntus, try and destroy it, and then they're going to be back. Okay, fine. So what we need to do is stop them doing that, and we do it with Control the Weak, which is also a discard, which is nice because it means you're more likely to get 2 of these in the same deck. A Control the Weak and a Restringuntus, because they're in the same house, will pop up in the same decks more often than cards from different houses. That should be fairly obvious. So what Control the Weak does, when you play it, you get an Ember bonus, which is nice. Free Ember. You choose a house on your opponent's identity card, and your opponent must choose that house as their active house on their next turn. See where we're going here? You choose Mars. So now Restringuntus says they're not allowed to choose Mars. Control the Weak says they have to choose Mars, and we have had a ruling on this, and the ruling is it goes to their turn, and they have to choose Mars, but they can't choose Mars, ergo they have no active house. They still have their turn, but they're not allowed to choose an active house. Now this doesn't mean they can't do anything, because they can still use Omni abilities. So something like Key to Dis, which incidentally would be an amazing counter, more on that in a moment. Key to Dis has an Omni ability, sacrifice Key to Dis, destroy each creature. And an Omni ability basically is one that you can choose regardless of your active house. So, Control the Weak and Restringuntus together don't mean you don't get a turn, you still get a turn. But you don't have an active house, which means all you can do is use Omni abilities and anything else which you can use regardless of what your active house is. Okay, that's a little bit annoying, but here's the thing, right? Control the Weak's an action card. So you play Control the Weak. With a Restringuntus down, you make sure your opponent doesn't have an active house. They go, grr, I've wasted a turn, and that's essentially it. What we need to do is keep this party rolling, and we can using 2 other cards, one of which belongs to Dis. It's Dominator Bauble. Dominator Bauble is an artifact, which means you put it down exhausted, and then next turn, it's ready and you can use it. And the action says, use a friendly creature. Now, the wording on this is important. When it says use, It means you can reap, or you can fight, or you can use an action. And by friendly creature, it means of any house, not necessarily your active house. And the creature we choose to use is Witch of the Eye. Witch of the Eye has a phenomenal reap ability, though it is an untamed creature, which says return a card from your discard pile to your hand. And you choose Control the Weak. And what happens is every turn, you use Dominator Bauble to target Witch of the Eye. You reap with Witch of the Eye to return Control the Weak to your hand from your discard pile. You play Control the Weak, nominating Mars as their active house. Restringuntus has locked them out of Mars, and there we have it. A combo whereby your opponent has no active house for the entire game, and you win, even if you do nothing else. You get 1 Ember from Control the Weak. You get 1 Ember from reaping with Witch of the Eye, so every 3 turns you get to forge a key, but your opponent cannot do anything, and you win. So this leaves 2 important questions. How can this happen, and how do we stop it? Well, the how does it happen? It's a unique deck game. And that means that every single deck printed is created with an algorithm which is unique and different from any other deck. What that means is that you can make really powerful cards like Restringuntus and Control the Weak, and it doesn't matter because people cannot construct their own decks. If you could have a constructed format in Keyforge, and I know a lot of people keep asking about this, it would be the worst thing ever. But because people would just be like, well, I've got Restringuntus and Control the Weak and Witch of the Eye, so I'm just going to do this constantly. And it would be easy to set up these kind of combos. But by having these powerful cards, which you couldn't have in a constructed game, but you can in a unique deck game, you will sometimes get decks out there. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, there are hundreds of thousands of decks out there already. There are going to be decks that have these 4 cards in. It is going to happen. So now that we know what the combo is, and we understand that it can happen because it's a unique deck game, and that means that inherently powerful cards that would not be printed in a TCG will be printed in this. How do we stop it? And the answer is, if you know what you're doing and you're looking out for it, it's really not the hardest thing to stop ever. Because they've got to have Restringuntus in play, and they've got to have Witch of the Eye in play, and they've got to have Dominator Bauble in play. That's 2 creatures and an artifact, all of which enter play exhausted, meaning they cannot be used that turn. After that, your opponent's got to draw Control the Weak. Now, unless you've got cards like Mother, which let you draw extra cards, generally speaking, you will start your turn with a hand of 6 cards. So even if you've got these 4 cards in your deck, the chances of having all of them in your hand at the same time, not terribly high. Not only that, of course, but Restringuntus and Dominator Bauble need to be played on a dis turn, and Witch of the Eye needs to be played on an untamed turn. Sure, Dominator Bauble lets you use a friendly creature, it does not let you play an extra creature. So essentially, if your opponent knows this is coming, and in proper tournament games, you do have the opportunity to see your opponent's deck list, or their character card with their deck list on at the beginning of the game, so you will be able to spot this, especially if you've gotten this far into the video. So it's nice and easy. If you see their Witch of the Eye come down, you take it out at any cost. If you see Restringuntus come down, you take it down at any cost. There are plenty of ways to take these down. I did a video about how Mars can do a whole bunch of cheeky damage. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. But essentially, you've got a whole bunch of cards. Take Ammonia Clouds, for instance. Ammonia Clouds does 3 damage to each creature. So that'll take out Restringuntus, and it will take out the Witch. Or you could do something along the lines of Irradiated Ember if your opponent has 6 Ember or more. Or if you've got 3 ready Mars creatures, you can use Mothership Support and deal 2 damage to Restringuntus and 4 to Witch of the Eye, or you can use Orbital Bombardment, and if you've got 3 Mars cards in hand, you can take both of them out. And that's just a couple of examples from Mars. There are so many other examples in the game, not to mention you could just attack and destroy them. But even if you don't do that, there are plenty of cards to get rid of artifacts. Barehanded puts each artifact on top of its owner's deck, which will slow the combo down for a turn. Crazy Killing Machine lets you destroy creatures and artifacts, so that could take it out. Honestly, this is an unstoppable combo. If your opponent has Restringuntus, Dominator, Bauble, and Witch of the Eye down and ready, and draws Control the Weak, they win the game. But then again, even if they've got that, I mentioned Key to Dis earlier. If you've got Key to Dis down, it's an Omni ability, so you can use it if you don't have an active house. It destroys each creature, and that will include Restringuntus and the Witch. So maybe you could set yourself up with something like that. But the fact of the matter is, it's not an easy combo to pull off, and it revolves around an artifact and 2 creatures, all of which enter play exhausted, and you can take them out before this gets going. Don't get me wrong, if they get the combo going, they almost certainly win, unless you've got something like Key to Dis in play already. But I'm not sure how many people are going to be able to get this combo going, because I've played a whole bunch of games at Keyforge, and one common theme between myself and my opponent, if a really annoying creature comes into play, you can usually take it out. And if you get rid of Witch of the Eye, then sure, they can have 1 turn with Control the Weak, but only 1, unless they've got 3 or 4 Control the Weak, in which case it gets a lot more awkward. But you can take down Restringuntus, and then okay, you've had that 1 bad turn, but it's not the end of the world. Any creature, unless it's something like Shadow Self that can't attack or can't deal damage, any other creature can take down Restringuntus. So, to recap, combos like this are inevitable in a unique deck game, especially if you want to print lots of powerful cards, which you obviously do. It is an unstoppable combo when it gets going, but I'm fairly sure it's quite easy to stop if you know it's coming. But I'd like to know what you think about this combo, so let me know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts, but please do remember the most important rule as always: be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter @Wossy, where I ramble about Keyforge and other things. But by far the most important thing as always is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.